I'm going to really delve into the news. I don't usually like to do this, but I think it's this thing in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis is such an interesting convergence of tactics, and I really believe that this is going to be the final color war of the century. The last time the creepazoid parasite satanic cult will be able to pull off a color war. I think it's the end of this. You remember they've been using this across the continents. They've been using this time and time again. Iran was victimized by this color war, by this fake war promoted by the intelligence agencies. I think this is the end of it in Minneapolis. This is where it goes to die. This whole tactic of the left, this whole tactic of the internal satanistic parasites is about to be terminated forever. It's in a sense a giant sting operation. This is not unlike what happened with Dr. Fauci. President Trump paraded Dr. Fauci around like he was the biggest expert in the world. What did Fauci do? Just totally incriminate himself around an issue that was I don't have words for this, but the point was that this is a kind of a reoccurrence of the same situation. Here you had the COVID vaccine. Here you had this manufactured illness, all these things. You had the deep state doing its best to depopulate the world. Now, if you were a normal person, just another reminder, collect thanks, Wade. If you were like if you had a normal consciousness, which the creepazoid parasites do not, you would think, well, Trump would just end it and he'd expose them and it would be over. But we're dealing with a war for the consciousness of humanity. You can't just say I was right and was wrong because there's so many shades of understanding here and there's so many prejudices on the left. I got a text from one of my old friends from the left, and he said something to the effect that Vance's admission that Trump was out of line, it's over for Trump. I'm like, you wish that Trump was that stupid like you are, like the left is, like the people who are fighting ICE are. They're all over the place. They're doing their playbook, just like Fauci did his playbook. Now, in a normal opponent, if you had somebody who was not a genius like the White Hats and President Trump, they would have just closed it down and arrested everyone. Instead, they gave people, and this is probably where the Galactics came in with their influence, but they gave people a choice. Now, a lot of us said, screw you, I ain't taking that vax, man. Lose my job? No problem. I'd rather lose my job than lose my life. I mean, it's just, what's the question? Those of us who took the time to be informed, those of us who had the time. I had the time because I was always in kind of like administrative lockdown in the Department of Education. They rarely would let me actually teach. Once in a while, they'd let me teach for like a year or two, and then it would be send him out, put him in the rubber room. He's too dangerous. He's he's trying to teach the kids again. Get him out of there right away. But the idea of presenting something one way and letting everyone make their own choice. A lot of people died. They made the wrong choice. A lot of people are still suffering. They made the wrong choice. Maybe it wasn't the wrong choice for their journey. Maybe for them they came here to make that wrong choice. Or maybe they learned something from it and they'll do their best to really counteract the destructive qualities of some of these situations. But a normal person would just shut these down, call out the Insurrection Act, shut them down. That's it forever. That's what the left really wants. They really want a mediocre chess player who just attacks, and it's not strategic. What President Trump and the White House are doing is much more strategic. They're doing what they always do. They allow the enemy to destroy themselves. This is game theory. This is brilliance. So if you're frustrated about what's going on, because these people are really obnoxious and the news is in your face, just know that we are winning. We are going to win the last color war. This will be the last color war on the planet. These creeps will be totally removed, and the consciousness of mankind will tilt in the other direction, in the favor of, like, the republic, of local governments, not national sweeping governments that put their fingers in every pie that you own, come into your classroom, enforce rules that are insane. We are coming into the promised land. We're coming into the age of Aquarius. We're coming into a place of where evil has been destroyed, and I don't think it will ever come back. I mean, there are cycles, and I can't pretend to understand the big cycles, but in terms of our lifetimes, we probably are. We are ridding ourselves of this parasitic force that sucks our energy, that puts us, that feeds off our loosh, that feeds off our negativity, our own sense of uh, self worthlessness, of shame, of fear. Yeah, I'm ready for it too. If you can see beneath the surface, you can feel that it's already happened. This is a done deal. Trump is not going to make a mistake. He's not, and I was saying, oh, why don't they call out the Insurrection Act? Because I have like a normal way of thinking. That's what a normal person thinks. But so much higher is the thinking of this inc- incredible military force that's been in activation since the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. They've been planning this. This is not like, well, we'll try this time. This is a long-term plan, probably supported by time travel, by galactic advisors, by the exposure of this deep state parasitic quagmire that they've been hiding from us and pretending like this is that life is just this way. It's just normal. I mean, any 3-year-old can understand that there's no way to understand why people pay rent. It's just there's no way to understand, like, from a child's point of view, why do I have to go to school? But they're right. I had that instinct. I did not want to go to school. I fought my parents in nursery school. I fought them on numerous occasions. I'm not going. But I was this tall. So, eventually, but not that my parents forced me. They had to deal with me because, I don't know. It's just, what can you say? We are what we are. But it's normal. Kids don't want to go to school, and there's a good reason for it. Who wants to be indoctrinated by a bunch of creeps? It's not normal to want to go to school. I mean, there are perhaps people that like to socialize. Maybe if you're an only child and you really want to, hang out with some other people, some other kids, that could make sense. But in general, and it just gets worse the more you're in school. However, okay, let me get back to the original subject. So this is a color war. This is a military operation on the left. The left is undergoing. This is not a casual protest. This is an organized military invasion with the intent to the topple Trump and the empire by tricking them into overreacting and then using it against them. But this time it's not going to work. First of all, Trump ain't falling for it. I mean, when he does, there'll be so much information out there about. We sent in Tom Homan, and it's they don't they don't need another Kent State shooting. Like I saw this chart about Kent State. The Kent State shooting totally worked against the shooters, against the government. So Trump has learned from history. Trump is probably a time traveler and all this other good stuff, but they're not falling for it. They're not going to just send in the troops and crush the invasion. They're doing it strategically. They're using like low impact nuclear bomb. I mean, I think Q used to joke about that. Better have a precision bomb than just blow up the whole thing. I saw a thing with Kash Patel that they have traced the source of the funding. They know exactly who these people are, and they're allowing this whole thing to play out because they understand that it could turn against them if they are to overplay their hand. So they're not doing it. But in the meantime, they're snuffing them from behind. They're destroying them in the shadows. They're cutting the funding. They're probably arresting a lot of people behind the scenes. The headline. I mean the thumbnail I put out today had the woman who's like a lieutenant governor, I think, from Minnesota. They took her Signal account and they found out she was like organizing all these protests against the government. So it's all happening. New technology is amazing, incredible. Yeah, the military is incredible. We're all here like old times. Yeah, Sharon, the party queen. Yeah, it feels that way, right? Prayers for the children worldwide. Absolutely, Sandra. Yeah, it is like old times. It really is. This is how it used to be. I don't do broadcasts like this very often because I find it incredibly boring. But this one is I think quite interesting because it's game theory. It's allowing the enemy to do their dirty work without really reacting, without playing out your hand. But at the same time, everything is going on behind the scenes. I mean, I was just shocked to hear from an old friend of mine, somebody I really care about, who's a lib, and he's like, well, Vance is against it's like you think that Trump is like some kind of clown and like everything. He has withstood every attack since forever. I mean, every time during the primaries, every time all these other candidates would come out and they'd say something and the press would just eliminate them. Trump was so resilient. That's the word. He's just resilient. He's relentless. He is not afraid to use the moment, to look bad in a moment, only to return with even greater glory. That's Trump. And this is one of those instances where we are repeating what happened during the COVID invasion, the COVID Holocaust, and we are now seeing the same thing playing out to see if humanity has figured it out yet, right? This is a timeline change. We're going back to the same thing like Groundhog Day. We're repeating the same thing with Dr. Fauci, but it's in Minneapolis. It's the same idea. the left and the media is screaming and yelling, and my friends are calling me and saying it's over for Trump. And it's not. It's just the beginning. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of these color revolutions. It's the end of the CIA deep state dominance, the new world order, the great reset people. There is a great reset going on. And while this is playing out, the economy is being completely rerouted, and we could be days away from waking up to find that XRP has gone to 10,000, 100,000, 500,000, because the economy behind the scenes in the quiet, the quantum financial system has already been in position for a while, for a long time, it seems like. And by the way, do not fall for this quantum financial system like you got to sign up. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You have to sign up. They don't know who you are. They know every time you burp on your phone. They know every time you're thinking, they know what you're thinking. They know what you want to buy before you do. It's over. It's over for them. They've overplayed their hand. And we're moving into an age where Starlink, where satellite technology, where the CIA's Google, this adrenochrome, it's right in your face. The creeps are right in your face. All this is over. The child trafficking, the cloning, the the guys with masks, the actors with masks, the this whole charade, central casting perpetrated against humanity by the left is over. It's over. It's over in Iran. It's over in Nepal. It's over in America. There are still my people, the people I grew up with, the kind of people that I was supposed to be, are still liberals. The white people, I mean, I grew up in a place where these people, they have never been anywhere. They have the same friends that they did when they were 5 years old. They're still talking about the baseball scores. I have no tolerance. I loved, as a kid, I was in the community, and I loved playing baseball, and I loved all that stuff. But I'm sorry, man. It's really, I just, these people have not changed. They are not able to change. So then you ask the question that Roseanne poses: are they really people? I don't know. You have the same political vantage, the same political, you know, ideology at 70 that you did at 5 years old. You have the same friends. You do the same things. I don't call that a life. I mean, for me, that would be. I mean, that I call that the opposite of life. I stayed. I went to college. I got married. I got a job, and now I'm retired. That's not for me or you. That's for, I don't know what they are. But according to Roseanne, the primary characteristic of humanity is that humans change. Some people don't change. Are they humans? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I like these people. They're my old friends. Once in a while, like once every 5 years, I might interact with them in some small way. But I didn't come here to stay as I was when I was born. I came here to explore consciousness, and I'm sure you did too. And exploring consciousness requires change. It requires, like, there was my thumbnail yesterday was that it's not that I'm like some kind of wise man. It's just that I've done more stupid stuff than you. That's why I'm the one speaking. I've just done a lot of stupid stuff. I'm not afraid to change. I love change. I get upset when I don't change. the fool card. I don't know if you saw. I did an interview with Dave Schmitz again from Keto Carnivore. Brilliant man. Very eloquent. Very well. Just it was just a brilliant interview. I don't think he got a lot of hits, but he's brilliant. He started this restaurant called Keto Carnivore. He's very well versed in in health issues. He knows incredibly, but he knows about all things, and that's to me that's the sign of a real person. But he said, and it's so true in my opinion. He says, I'm kind of like a fool, he said something like that, and I just immediately thought to myself, well, that the fool card in the tarot deck is the highest card there is. That when you get to a state where you're just kind of like foolish, you think, you might think of that way in context of the Matrix, because you're not worried about things. You're just like, you're chill, man, because God's got your back. You kind of foolish. You're just kind of, like, I don't, if somebody comes to me and tries to explain to me what's really going on, I'm just like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, you know, it, but anyway, so I think that we have to be very excited now. I think we're very close to the end. I think they're talking about the Clarity Act in the next on Thursday, and hopefully, once the Clarity Act comes out and the money situation changes, at least I think it's already changed, but it changes in terms of consciousness. Yeah, I before I became religious, one of the reasons I became religious was because I started reading tarot cards. I was pretty good at it. I mean, I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of time with my cards, but the cards had a kabbalistic hint. It was a lot of kabbalistic stuff. So I really got into Kabbalah in those days, not the evil Kabbalah they talk about, but in terms of understanding the universe through this kind of template of the 10 Sfirot. And I got so into it, and I was really trying to I was looking for the truth. This was when I lived in Nashville in the early 90s. I had moved to Nashville from New York. I stopped working as I had a company. I was working as a remodeling. I had a remodeling crew. We were working in Long Island, and I, fl- I my relationship ended, and I said, I want to go back to Nashville. Why am I telling this? I forgot the thread, but just that I wanted. Um, yeah. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But the point is that change is good. Change is essential. Change is to be human. So the change now is, given the same situation as the Dr. Fauci situation, now in Minnesota, knowing what we know, knowing what we've all been together talking about for night after night for 5 or 10 years, we've been sitting here talking about this stuff. And it's just, this time around, we're like, hey man, I see what Trump is doing. He's got it, man. He's got these bastards by the short hairs. They can't work. They can't move. They can scream all they want. They can blow their whistles. They can make obnoxious noise. They can aggravate you senseless. Or you can just say, hey man, it's a bunch of paid protesters, a bunch of losers that don't have real lives, and have at it, man. We're building a new republic. And again, let me just remind everyone, you can join the republic, the real republic, by, all you have to do is get on the site, press the little lines on the side, and give me your info and volunteer. whatever state you're in. There is something we can really do. We don't have to be bystanders. We don't have to be observers. We can participate in the rebuilding of the republic. It's an amazing time to be alive. So I encourage everyone to join the Republic. It's an amazing organization. The people, they're so selfless. They're like, no one's joining the Republic because they want to be rich and famous. You're joining the Republic because it's the right thing to do. You know, it's just it makes sense. It just fell into my lap. I mean, if you believe that things happen randomly, which I don't, I think things happen in a very beautiful, unfolding tapestry kind of interwoven thing. Like today, I thought to myself today, in terms of my building, what I've been building, I spent a fair amount of hours working on things. And I thought to myself, I didn't really get anything done today. What does that mean? It means that I didn't finish something. I don't have something to look at other than, I've been toying with this block and tackle idea. We're off grid. We don't like to go to town all the time. So we acquired some big wheels, and I've got the ratchet straps from my truck and my trailer. I've attached all the ratchet racket things to this big beam, 18-foot beam that I'm trying to raise up. So the beam is like floating there right now. I mean, it's just sitting outside, like halfway up, and I feel like, I'm looking back. I'm like, I didn't really accomplish anything. I didn't put a lot of bolts in. I didn't put a lot of boards in, but I was able to maneuver this 18-foot 4 by 10 inch piece of wood off, and I've got all these ratchet straps and all these wheels and all these pulleys. It looks like a Rube Goldberg, and so I did accomplish something, but I'm not. I haven't finished the assignment yet. That's a lot of this. A lot of this is just procedure. But the fool card, the magician, right? Right. So let me just. I'm trying to go recreate my past. I went to Nashville. So I went to Nashville after, I escaped New York for the second time. I went to Nashville, I went back to Nashville in the 90s, and I started hanging out with a bunch of new age people, including Sean, the guy who wrote the songs with me. And I got into tarot decks, and I got into mystic Judaism. I got into Kabbalah, and I started reading all these books about Kabbalah. And what happened to me, and this is how the universe creates your your destiny. I I was working at Peabody Vanderbilt as an educational researcher, and I discovered a Jewish library at Vanderbilt. I was looking through Mayan things. I was looking for, I was looking for the pyramids, Egyptian. I was looking for the truth. I was joining all kinds of weird religious things. I just wanted to find out what's really going on. I was eventually praying at Hindi temples and taking, hanging out with various creatures of the opposite sex. But I found at one point I stumbled into, I was spending hours as an educational researcher, not doing my job, but spending hours wandering through the book vaults at Vanderbilt University. I had access to, I was working for the university, so I was spending hours and hours in the library. And finally, I discovered this Jewish library back in some little place somewhere in Vanderbilt. And I started learning about the Baal Shem Tov, who was like a great uh, master of in the 1700s, who returned Yiddishkeit he returned mysticism to Yiddishkeit. And I got very into Kabbalah, and I was, I had been reading the Kabbalah cards, and thought to myself, I had various experiences. I met a woman from Israel. I and I was, in a relationship with a Wiccan, and very disturbing satanic. She was into satanic stuff, and I thought to myself, I think it's time to really learn about Jewish mysticism, not just reading tarot deck, but I understood that in order to truly understand Kabbalah, you can't just you have to be part of the community, and the Chabad community in New York and throughout the world studies mysticism openly. Kids learn about mysticism. They all learn about mysticism. So I said, well, that's a good place, so I can learn, because I was trying to translate things in Hebrew that I had no connection to whatsoever. But yeah, so that was part of the. So then after that, I spent 25 years. I said, I'm ditching this whole liberal philosophy, this whole kind of like live in the woods with weird seances going on and stuff like that, and I'm gonna just I'm going to go to yeshiva. And I did. And I was in my 40s then. I went to yeshiva for 2 years, almost 2 years. And then I got married and I moved to Crown Heights, and I lived there for 25 years. And I don't regret it. It was a wonderful experience, and I had a beautiful son. But the idea that you can, in order to really learn something, you have to be in it. You have to really be in it, and that's where my learning led me to Q, and led me to you, and led me to, now we're learning in a way that combines all these different things, all these disconnected, so-called disconnected events. You think, like, when I was 26, I decided to go from I went to writing school. All of a sudden I was interested in becoming a carpenter, and I was a remodeling carpenter for 20 years. And then I ditched it to go into education. And here, all these years later, I'm really enjoying just doing carpentry for myself, hanging this big beam, trying to figure out how to hang the beam. So, all right. Anyway, I was surprised to hear that you read cards. Yeah, so I did. Seeing the bigger picture. Right. Expand your thinking. Yeah. So the big picture is with, I do not like witchcraft. I do not like witchcraft either. But at the time, I didn't even know that I didn't like witchcraft, because I never heard of it. Other than one time, I was trying to rent an apartment from somebody, and she had a bunch of smelly cats. But Tarot by Janine, yeah, I like that. It was a stage for me. I don't think I would go back to reading tarot cards. I don't really associate myself with any particular thought stream in that way. I just like to be connected to spirit. And I feel, if I have a question, or if I have a problem, I just talk. And I get answers. It's just like, so like religious people will say, well, Ellie, you really should pray every day. And I'm like, why? I'm in a constant, I feel like sometimes I'm in a kind of a constant communication with something that maybe it's my higher self. I don't know. But went to Kabbalah Center in Boca Raton. I have Zohar and pictures. Yeah, I like the Kabbalah Center. I went there also. I have that little red book from Rabbi Berg. It's a very powerful book. Even when I was in Chabad, I would look at his book. But I went to the Kabbalah Center a couple times. Nice looking girls, women. I liked it, but I was, at the time, I was Hasidic and married and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. But Kabbalah is groovy, but I think, I don't think we that humans need any of that stuff. I don't think so, or at least I don't feel, I don't I don't I no longer feel compelled. I don't think of myself as a seeker anymore. I'm not looking for God. I'm not. I'm just I'm I feel connected. I feel like that I don't have to that I'm not thirsty the way I was. I was like I really need I was driven by the need to figure this stuff out. And at some point it just it the that that desire just went away, and I feel I feel fine. I just feel perfectly connected. I don't need to do any kind of ritual to, like I shake it to the right and you shake it to the left. I don't need to do any of that stuff, man. I mean, if I got a problem, I'll be like, hey, man, what's up? It's like let's just talk. Can't we just talk? What man to man or man to God? Let's just talk it out, and I get answers. They don't come as like, oh, you must do that. It's like, I get a little picture. I'll say, what about this? And I'll get a little picture in response. Anyway, so isn't tarot evil? I don't know. Any of these things could be used for evil or good. In dogmatic religions, they'll tell you this is evil. They'll tell you that those guys are bad and these guys are good, but these guys are only good when they're doing this kind of stuff. And it's all about division. I don't I don't want to go there. You want to do tarot cards, fine. You don't want to do tarot cards, fine. You want to believe in the Jewish carpenter? You believe in the Jewish carpenter. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with you telling me that if I don't do that, then I'm going down. I don't see it. I just, it doesn't vibe with me, that kind of energy. Anyway, I've gotten far from Minnesota. It though I will say it is the coldest place I think I've ever been to. It's really cold there. I don't know how these people are running around on the street. But yeah, inner work daily. Yeah, but eventually you get. I mean, think you get to a point where I don't sit on a mat and meditate anymore. I don't need to. I just feel like I did that for years, and I did the Kabbalah for years, and I did I was lived in nature and worked as a school teacher to try to give something back to people, and that didn't really. But I just feel that, like what Dave said this afternoon, is like the highest card in the tarot deck is the Fool, and he's the magician. He's the one who can change, he's the wave dancer. To borrow a phrase from the Deer Tribe, he's a wave dancer. He can, wherever he is, he's there. Whatever he has to go through, he goes through. It's just like, okay, this is happening. I'll deal with it this way. Am I surfing above the world, just like calmly observing? No, I don't consider myself that's obnoxious. Oh, I'm of the earth but not in it. It's like I'm above it all. And that's such bullshit, because the real holiness is not above it, it's inside of it. It's getting into the nitty gritty. It's trying to figure out how to lift an 18-foot piece of beam. That's where, in my opinion, that's where godliness is. That's where the real godliness is, in the funky details of physical existence. Everyone's on their own path. Yeah, and that's good, man. I mean, why should you be on my path? Why should I be on your path? I mean, I got my own path. I don't need your path, and you don't need my path. You don't need to be like me. I'm not out here. There was a troll that was like, you want us to be like you, but and I'm like, no, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be like you. I'm not telling you should everybody should, like, leave their houses and buy a place in Mojave Desert. I mean, I got my own stuff. Unconditional pure love worldwide. Yeah, one day XRP will go like gold and silver. Yeah, they're talking about that a lot. Walter, you're focused on the financial, man. Come on, you got to live a little. You got a main squeeze. You're working on that too. I hope so. What would be good to have a bunch of money and have no one to care for. I don't know. It could be, some people are better off. I mean, there are some people, including myself at times, that are better off by ourselves because we're. I mean, that was the conclusion I came to when I surrendered to Yiddishkeit. When I became Orthodox, I was like, I've been looking for love in all the wrong places and making a mess of things. I'm just gonna like put myself away somewhere for a while. I'm gonna be sort of monkish. But that only lasted for 25 years, and then I was like, after the vaccine holocaust, I was like, I'm not down for this struggle anymore. Brian Best. So don't worry about Minneapolis. President Trump is way too smart. Thank God. The White Hats are way too smart. I could never do what they do. I could never, I would have said arrest Biden, cut his head off in public, go into Minneapolis and arrest them all. But they're doing that. You're just doing it quietly. They're not making a big stink about it because what is the news? What news actually really is actually reality? We don't know. Wanting my family to wake up and learn my knowledge. Now I woke up and more, and I let them wake up on their own. Right? Yeah, that's it, man. You can't force somebody into this. I mean, I was shocked to get a text from my friend saying like it's over for Trump. I mean, why would he do that? But the people who were really had problems with my thinking, I think they've mellowed quite a bit. I heard Minnesota can be negative 40. Yeah, it is. It is. I don't know how people live there. I visited there one weekend, one winter weekend 30 odd years ago, and I don't think I would ever go back, not willingly. However, I've been wanting a main squeeze. Yeah, 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 and you deserve it. We all deserve it, and they're probably looking for you. How to bridge that gap? I don't know. I think, but I think it's like anything else. You have to try and try and try and make a fool of yourself and make a fool of yourself, and then eventually, like with me, I mean, somebody, Daniela sent me an email and said, "You need me." I was like, nobody even responds to me on the dating, the computerized dating things. I can't get a woman to talk to me in New York to save my life. And I was like, okay, man, I guess God wants me to be alone sometimes. And I was alone for a while. And I was okay with it. I was getting used to it. But I think you have to just prime the pump and try and then not try. Both try and not try at the same time. Like don't have an agenda, but you know, I don't know. We all need to be bridge builders and not bridge burners. Yeah, that's a good one, Wade. Yeah, I like that. We need to be bridge builders. I need to be a beam lifter. I've got all these ratchet. I've got like three sets of ratchet straps around this one beam. It's pretty interesting, and it's tied to my truck. I mean, I got this whole contraption out there, man. I hope it works. I hope it doesn't, God forbid, anything happen. But yeah, it's all. I think we're heading for. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the thought stream. I'm gonna share some information that hopefully will back something like what I'm saying. But the idea that tarot cards are bad, from a strictly orthodox point of view, they are. But w- I don't know. I don't think anything by itself is necessarily bad unless you do something evil with it. Sparky Brown, one of my favorite gurus, Sparky Brown. I can't even think about Sparky Brown without wanting to cry. I just sweeter man you will never meet. I mean, but more than that, he was a true guru. What does that mean? It means that when you came to Sparky, Sparky was you. He had nothing of his own. He was you in that moment. That's what Ram Dass says in Be Here Now, that the real guru, he has, it doesn't, I don't like say he doesn't have an ego. I mean, that just sounds like bullshit. But they don't exist the way you and I exist. And when you come to a guru, he's already exactly where you are because he has nothing of his own. He's surrendered. He's the fool. He's a fool. I mean, Sparky Brown. If you looked at Sparky Brown, he lived in a house his parents gave him with trees growing up through the rotting floorboards. I mean, this was Sparky Brown, one of the wisest people I've ever met. Would you want to be like Sparky Brown? I don't even think he had a car. I mean, I don't know how Sparky got around. He just had a lot of people that loved him and would come and get him because he was so. How did I get onto Sparky? Just to say that the fool is the highest card in the deck. And just don't worry what people think about you. I mean, we've all been through this. We've been ostracized by everyone. I still get annoyed. I still get annoyed at the liberals. I still want to wring them by their necks and say, you know, haven't you ever looked outside of your own world? I mean, the friend who reached out to me today, he has lived outside. He knows. But whatever. They just look, and everyone's on their pathway. Love bugs are around people and gone a lot. Love bugs, you are around people and gone a lot. And he puts the you in universe. That's nice. I like that. Will be the currency soon. Consciousness, right? And right, it will be evaluated not on how much money we have in the bank, but how many stupid things we've been through. um, Guru sounds for GURU. Yeah, I think that's a good one. For 34 years, I'm content to be alone. I'm alone and never lonely. I enjoy being alone. I also feel, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, some people can do it. I did it I can do it. I can do it. I enjoy my own company. I enjoy just like dating myself. But, you know, everything comes, maybe, there are people who just don't need that anymore. I mean, Sparky didn't have a main squeeze. He was just Sparky. He was on his own. Um, yeah, consciousness will be. Yeah, and I think we're coming at crockpot, crockpot beef stew today. Yummy. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, we shared a steak. We made this thing called fruit salad. We had fruit salad, and then we call health salad, which is basically like cabbage and sauerkraut and various roughage type things. Which for me, roughage is I'm a carnivore. I basically keep a kind of a carnivore diet, but you know, I I can't exist. I can't I'm too sensitive to have a clogged system. Yeah, love beef stew is great stuff. Learn not to be lonely. That's beautiful. Yeah, Sharon, I just wanted to. I can eat. You can eat all week long. Just do it one or two times a week. Um, yeah, yeah. What? Yeah. I mean, we fast in the morning. We don't eat until about 10. Oh, I think we eat now. We're eating around 10:30, but we don't really eat a big meal. Like today, we ate at 4. We had our 5. We ate at 5:30. But we had a little fruit salad in the morning, and we ate our main meal at 5:30. And I was working the whole time, even though I didn't get anything done the way that I'm usually evaluated. Like I built this and this and this wall's going up, and nothing like that happened. But the beam is off the ground, so that's what I accomplished today. Yeah, you may never be yourself, but never alone. You may be yourself, but never alone. Yeah. But anyway, it's a beautiful life, man. But don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to be the fool. and to be foolish even in your own eyes. It's okay. You just like, hey man, I don't know what's going on. I talk to God like that sometimes. I mean, talk to whatever, the divine, or the really, the I like to think of it as the Ein Sof, which is the limitless nothing, the unlimited nothingness. You know, that is, yeah, that's sort of a Kabbalistic thing, that the highest level is Ein Sof. It's like without end. I can't stand spell check because all my words are wrong. Yeah, I get that too. I'm not the best speller. All right, so yeah, I think let's just go to a couple little things. I don't know if we even need it. I don't know. Do we need proof? I think we summarized it all. I don't want to waste your time. Uh, but I think we have this. I see the numbers are lower than usual. I don't care. That's like I'm like kind of a fool. I love it when I remember couple of months ago, it started going up to like 1,000 people were listening to my live. I think I was doing more like people want to hear the news, so what they think of the news. I find it incredibly boring because I know that everything is really after the fact, that they've already taken care of those creeps. You might be seeing pictures of protests that happened last month. I don't know. We don't know. Yeah. Yum. On the best date I can have. I can order. Yeah. I used to really enjoy going to restaurants alone. It was kind of fun. We like to hear you talk. Well, thank you. Thank you. I always have typos myself. Yeah, me too. I mean, one of my partners was always critical of me because I couldn't spell. Meanwhile, I got this fancy degree in creative writing, but it's been fun. You had to run. Yeah. All right. So let me just say one thing about Lifeway before we go. Just to let's see, where did that go? Okay. So LifeWave. Um, I I got up this morning, or we got up this morning. It's been cold at night, just marginally cold, like 30 degrees, 29 degrees, enough to freeze. We are getting a little bit of a frost. And we got up this morning. I got up a little early, but I, I did my usual thing. I usually have a glass of water, and then I have some black coffee. I have water with, what's that stuff we put in the water? Creatine. We put a little creatine powder in the water just to keep the things going, and a little coffee, and I was like, I don't feel like, usually I feel kind of zippy in the morning, so I put on Daniela said, "Did you put on your LifeWave patches?" I said, "No, I didn't put them on yet." So I put them on, and all of a sudden I felt like, it's like something lit up. And I think these little patches, really connect to your light body, really connect to your soul, and wake you up. Because, I mean, they say we have a body and a soul and all this other stuff. We have light. We are basically a frequency. We are a body, we are physical, but physicality isn't even physical according to the physicist. So I put on these. I have three on. I have X39, X49, and glutathione. We're getting big into glutathione. And oh, I have aloe vera on too. I'm using aloe vera as a daytime patch now because it makes you really like macho. It's supposed to affect your, that part of your consciousness. So yeah, so I invite you to check out the patches. I think they're amazing. I think they'll activate your light body in a way that we don't necessarily understand. But it's definitely a healing. I mean, it does something. And to become conscious of what it does, like there are people that it's like it just doesn't work for me because they may not be sensitive enough to really experience it. I'm not saying that if you don't experience it you're not sensitive, but there are a lot of things in our environment, in our habits, in our food source, in our water source, in the air, that make it hard for us to experience the light within. But these patches seem to be associated with a kind of an internal force. And like I said, there's subtle. It could be really subtle. It could be really well. This morning, I really felt it. I was just like, but for 3 years, I was just like, I don't know, do these patches really work? I can't really tell. But I've been getting younger, and now I know it's a small thing, but I can stand on one leg. I could not do that 10 years ago. I couldn't balance on one leg, and now I can. I mean, granted, my diet is very different. We only eat supposedly organic food or whatever the hell they dish out at us. I mean, eventually we're going to have mostly of our own food. So we won't have to worry about whether it's organic enough. Then we'll have to worry about, did the chemtrails mess up but it's going to be okay. The Galactics have our back. Anyway, check in with Dr. Stacy, and I think last night I didn't do the tune. Conversation is stimulating topics. Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like just the general thing that I throw out at you. I think it's the way that my mind works stimulates the way your mind works. I think it's like maybe I got a little piece of every time I think about Sparky, I just want to cry. Maybe I just got like a little piece of Sparky in me, and and you see when I'm talking, I'm really saying the things that you're thinking, kind of. Because maybe I do have enough of a fool in me to be kind of out of my own way, at least when I'm in front of a microphone. But still in the chat, still get together twice a week on Zoom. That makes me feel so good. It's really just being people. It's just being like not putting on airs, just being yourself. That's really the essence of it. I mean, Sparky was just himself. Uh, yeah, yeah. Rachel's been doing an amazing job keeping the community together. I salute you. I tried to do the Zoom thing years ago, and it didn't really work for me. I think I'm better off just like this. And you guys do the Zoom, but I encourage you. I hope you're finding, nice people to hang out with, nice friends. Invest 1.6 billion stake in rare earth metals in Texas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would just like to find a few rare earth metals right here, just so I wouldn't have to, even think about. Well, I mean, but everything I really want in life, I can afford. I don't really want what do I want? A ship? I mean, I don't even live anywhere near the ocean. What do I want? Like one of those motorized motorcycles that go on the water? I hate those. Those things are repulsive to me. What do I want? I want big quarter round logs. And I just, out of nowhere, I meet this guy, Travis, and he says, come and I'll fill up your whole trailer for $150. I'll have enough wood for, certainly to finish the house and probably for all the little side houses I have. Maybe I'll even build an outhouse someday. Wouldn't that be nice to have a second? We're doing things here. I don't know where we're going, but it's all good. Positive beach vibes. Yeah. I think Rachel's getting all of us together. Yeah, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. I really appreciate it. All right, so let's do the tune. Let's do a language of the. Oh, I can't do it. I didn't put it up. I'm sorry. I'll do that. I'll try to do that tomorrow night. But let's do New Morning, and just this. Remember this song. Yeah, I'm saying this song, New Morning. I started writing because of an incident with Sparky and Sheila that I deposited myself on Sheila's front porch. I don't know how many tabs of acid I was taking. I drove 200 miles from Nashville to somewhere near Chattanooga, somewhere near Georgia, somewhere out there where I don't know how I got there, but suddenly I was on Sheila's front porch with Sparky, and they did a heart opening on me. I was just trying to get out of the New York state of mind. I just fled from New York, and Sheila held me all night long on the front porch. I woke up on the porch. That's what the song is about. Waking up on the front porch Sunday at dawn. I woke up in Sheila's arms. She kept me warm all night, and Sparky kept his hand on my heart, and they were just saying, you're having a heart opening. And that's what we're having as a collective. We're all opening our hearts to the humanity, the beauty of being a human. Yeah, join the Zooms. I totally support that. And yeah, so just think about Sparky Brown. Think about yourself. About meeting yourself in another body. That's what Sparky was. A real guru. So here we go. Waking up on the front porch, Sunday at dawn. The night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. With each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. Yeah, so I just got a flash of Sparky. Sparky came to me and he said, "You're doing okay. You're doing okay, man." Because I used to come to Sparky. Sparky was my guru, and I'd be like, "What's it all about? What's this? What's that?" I had questions, questions, questions. And yeah, there's a Sparky Brown in all of us. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. All you really need to do is play the fool card. Just just give it up, man. Just settle into not knowing and being okay with it. You are source itself. You are unlimited creator, whether you're creating it or they're creating it or it's creating it or the divine's creating it. Who cares? It's happening. And if you can stay out of the fear space pretty good, you will eventually find your way home. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.